Hi! I think this is officially my first Facebook Live. I will probably need help from whoever is tuning in, the people that are probably off work or started their weekend early, so that I can check out comments and any questions. So I'm really new to this thing, but I'm so excited. That is my curtain being drawn. All right, so excited. How do I find out if there's anybody that is listening to me?
You'll see that.
I will see. Okay. Anyway, so I guess I will start. I'm a bit late, so it's I think 4 minutes past 2. I was very last minute to get this Facebook Live first ever going for speech therapy Totos. And I have to say, it is two special people in my life that said, just do it, you'll never be ready. Oh, Brenda, hi. Thank you for tuning in. I'm so excited. So I just thought I would put a face, a live face that is behind the brand, the name, and all the videos that I had overwhelmed people with towards the end of last year. So this is the live me. My name is Lorna Muthamia-Ochido, and as those that might already know me, I'm a speech and language therapist or pathologist that's practicing in Nairobi, Kenya. And Nairobi, Kenya is an underserved region for speech therapy. Underserved means there is very few speech therapists that are currently practicing in the country. I'm not really on record. I think we are probably definitely less than 10 in Nairobi. And if you imagine the population of 50 plus million people, thanks Brenda, in the country, and to have less than 10 qualified speech therapists, that is a severe, shortage. So my journey this far, so I will again just explain about what it is that I've been doing to this point and what it is that we have planned going forward. We have so speech therapy Totos is an online presence. Really, it's speech therapy that is easily accessible to anybody that is unable to physically come to our clinic to access the service. And if you need speech therapy services, usually you need them on an ongoing basis, which not everybody can actually access, either because of distance or time or even sometimes costs. So the reason that I decided to have a program that is easily accessible, and that program is our Late Talkers Boot Camp, which is a program for parents who have children who are late in talking. Either they're not saying anything at all, or they are not combining words. And so it's where I share tips and tricks on how to get your child saying more without necessarily going to see a speech therapist. So that is our paid program, which is currently closed for enrollment at the moment, but will be opening very soon, in about a month's time. But more than that, we also have a free program, which is our 3-part free video series, which anybody out there can access. All you have to do is go to our website, which is speechtherapytotos.com, and you click on watch free videos, and you enter your name and your email address, and you get access sent to your email address that gives you access to the video series. And that video series, it's talking about, just a brief overview. When I say brief, like each of the 3 videos are probably about 10 minutes and above, just about some of the things that parents can do at home to fast track or even jumpstart the journey for their children learning how to talk. So it's a really good program. We've had very good feedback from parents that have watched it. Thank you so much for all the feedback. And there's been lots of questions that have come as a result, which I thought, okay, perhaps I need to make myself more available on here, on Facebook, if people have questions. So, and really, this Facebook Live has been a whole lot of weeks in the making, and I'm like, it's just never ever ready. Either my hair is not ready, or yeah. So, and I just thought, today, because I'm actually shooting, and I'll talk about what we are planning to do as well for the in the course of this year. But so I'm actually shooting some video series today, and I thought, while I'm shooting this video series that are free to parents, might as well just jump on here, very short notice, and just tell people what we are up to, and really what the plans are. So what came about from the free video series and also from the course that that I launched last year is that there are many questions, and people don't really have a forum for where they can address them. And I know in Kenya, particularly with there have been such a shortage of speech therapists, and parents are not always sure, am I making the right decision for my child that has a delay or a difficulty? Am I seeing the right professionals? So part of the journey, and again, this has been prompted by all the lovely feedback that I've gotten, is to demystify the field, the speech therapy field, to tell parents, where they can, to direct them to where they can go to get information that they need on the different areas I'll be targeting. So language delay, autism, pronunciation, articulation, literacy, so how to teach a child how to read and write and spell, which I know people like to use the term dyslexia. So how to overcome dyslexia, or how to address dyslexia in children. I don't really like that term, but for the purpose of just making for people to ease of understanding. So yes, dyslexia. So there will be lots and lots of topics that we'll be tackling together, and I am hoping that this Facebook Live is going to be a consistent affair. So maybe weekly or fortnightly, I will decide, just depending on the need. So if anybody is interested, have questions, just post them on our page, and when we have a Facebook Live, we'll try and address as many of those questions as possible. So okay, so let me start with how I got here. Hi, Annette, thank you for joining in. How's Perth? So exciting to see people from such a long time ago. So the journey started with, and I've talked about this several times in my interviews, in my media work that's there, and also really on my website, which is speechtherapytotos.com, is I decided to go and study speech therapy in Australia. Actually, I started off in Perth at a university called Curtin, which is in Perth, which is western part of Australia. This was prompted by a need, so a personal need. My youngest sister was diagnosed with a hearing impairment at the age of about 2, and I grew up in Mombasa, and there were no speech therapists, absolutely no speech therapists in Mombasa then. My sister is now 24 years, and actually not much has changed since then, because even at 24 years, so this was about 22 years ago, and to think now in 2019 there's still no speech therapists in Mombasa, so we couldn't find a speech therapist, and so we had to make do, just like a lot of parents have had to do. Like, we don't have a speech therapist, what do you do for a child? You go and look at the sad state of affairs in the special needs schools, the public special needs schools. So for us, it had to be the deaf schools in Mombasa, and you just feel like you don't want to take your loved one to such an institution that looks like it's under-resourced, understaffed. It doesn't look like it's quality establishment for your loved one. So my parents decided they're going to just put my sister in a mainstream school, which made us all feel very nice and happy that we were doing the best that we could, but really it was not specialized or individualized enough for her needs. And so as much as she was there and growing, she really wasn't thriving at all. So by then anyway, I had decided, which was really great, because I after high school, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I'm so glad that this was almost a blessing in disguise, because I would have probably gone on to doing something that probably wouldn't have brought me as much fulfillment as speech therapy is and has for the last few years, you know. So I decided then that I am going to do speech therapy, and I always had this interest in Australia. So when the rest of the masses were off to the US and the UK, I thought I wanted to go to Australia, and I never regretted it once. So went to Australia, did my bachelor's, and moved to New Zealand, another smaller country, which was also a very good experience. And then I completed my studies, and I moved to Australia, and I started my work, my professional work, in Melbourne city. So, which again, very lovely. And I was very comfortable for the first 3-4 years of practicing there, because as much as, yes, there's a lot of institutions in Australia that actually offer speech therapy course, there still is a shortage of speech therapists, believe it or not. Actually, there's a shortage of speech therapists the world over. So the decision for me to move back to Kenya was triggered by my initial interest, really, in pursuing the course. So I felt that I needed to come back to Kenya because the need was actually in Kenya. As much as, yes, there's also need in Australia, I felt the reason why I did it is so that I could be one voice, one very live voice amongst, the quiet that's the field in Kenya. So the journey back to Kenya to open a practice in speech therapy started in 2010. So moved back, and I think there was about 3 or 4 speech therapists then. They were mostly expatriates, and there was actually a tendency of having a very high turnover. You come, you work, you do your overseas experience if you're an expatriate, and then you go back to your country. So it was almost like a holiday of sorts for speech therapists who are sort of in between or transitioning. And so I came and I was like, I'm here and we are going to do this. So, and we did, and it was quite it was a challenge, really, but I am not one to shy away from challenges, so I really enjoyed it. I was a pioneer of sorts, and I wanted to just have impact. That was my number one, so that parents or families like mine that have a child that has a delay or a difficulty or a disorder don't have to leave the country, and I do meet parents who say, oh well, we were thinking of leaving the country, and I'm so glad then, because they met us, or they met me, they say, you know what, we don't need to leave the country. And actually we've gotten to a point where at our clinic, we tend to have families that are coming over from America, from Dubai. We've had one from the United Arab Emirates, so many from America, that when they come for their holiday and their child requires speech therapy, and they just do intensive sessions, and they're so happy to see the progress, and they say, yes, overseas there is speech therapy presence, but it's also at such a high cost. So to come and have a service that is affordable and see the impact on that small burst of therapy, the impact that it has on their child, that is the reason why I came back. And so when everything else is not going well, I'm like, at least I know we are touching lives. And so far we have been able to work with over 10,000 families to date that have accessed our services. So that's been really great. So the clinic, so I'll explain a little bit about really the different names if anyone has encountered some of some of my service in a different name. So this is Speech Therapy Totos. Speech Therapy Totos is really an online presence. Everything that is on offer on Speech Therapy Totos is for the convenience of parents. So you don't have to leave your house. You can access the videos. You can watch them at your convenience and start to apply the whatever it is that I'm teaching. But we also have a physical presence, which is a clinic that is based in Muthaiga, and the name of that clinic is Hear, Say and Read Clinic. There we see on average 700 children every month. And you're thinking, yeah, it's me. No, I have a team of very dedicated staff that I have trained that then offer services and to that many children or families. And it's been going really, really well. I think to date, we are the largest practice speech therapy provider in the country, and not just in the country, in East and Central Africa. And I say that with all humility because it has been a journey, but I feel the sacrifices, the challenges have all been worth for us to get to where we are at and say that the exact thing that I had hoped to achieve, or at least, get close to that when we're coming. And still the work isn't done. So the reason why, so the speech therapy clinic is there. We can share contacts for anybody that is wanting to come and access or see us there. But for anybody that is not able to see us there, this really would be the way that we can communicate, and I will update you. There's the website that has our blogs that are going to be, twice a week we'll have blogs there you can be checking out, and tips, just anything that we can do to support families that feel they have a child that requires speech therapy or an assessment and don't know where to begin. So the same service that my parents had hoped to have, 22 years ago, and it wasn't there. So this is what I'm hoping that speech therapy Totos is going to achieve. So okay, so what we have planned for the year, we had our first ever launch of an online program last year, towards the end of last year, so in December, where we launched a program called the Late Talkers Bootcamp 1.0 and 2.0. So that's a online course for parents who have children that are non-verbal. So your child is probably aged between 2 years or 3 years and 5 years, isn't saying anything. So what can you do? What are some of the things that you can start to do yourself? Because I say to parents, whatever I do in the session or at the clinic with a child, any parent is capable of doing. Can anybody hear my dogs? So anybody is capable of doing. So the only reason why you probably are not doing it is because you don't know, So I challenge, some of the families that come over, and I say to them, I offer speech therapy to my children every single day. And it's because I say this honestly, like it's a way of life. It's not something that you do for a short burst and then expect that it's going to give you this kind of, result. It's something that you keep doing over and over consistently, and not just when you're taking your child for the session in the clinic. So it's something that you need to carry on doing at home. So the launch was really a success, and more than that, it was just testing the waters for us and seeing that it was achievable. And I know sometimes it's difficult to relate to something that is, online. Technology is bringing down a lot of, blocks and barriers, but sometimes people just feel like, I'm not sure, is it really the genuine thing? And so these Facebook Lives and some of these, interactive sessions should at least give people the confidence that there's actually a real person that is behind the videos, and they can be reached. But I know I am not in a position to reach everybody, and so if I can't reach everybody, but my videos can be of help to you, then by all means, watch them. So this year the plan is to have these Facebook Lives where we just answer questions. We will have topics, and so we'll list out what our plan is for each month. Some of the sessions are going just to be live Q&A, so question and answer, and others are going to be dedicated topics. And this is mostly what we've received, as feedback, as questions, burning questions. And I'm also going to have segments about some of those burning questions, me giving my opinion about some of those burning questions, like autism diet, adenoids, what's the connection between adenoids and delayed speech. So I'll answer that as well. So I will try and hit at this at every which way, and if you still have questions that haven't been, the Q&As are still going to be here as well. So many exciting things really for the year. We are planning as well for the first time to launch a membership site for anybody that is interested in learning more about how to become a good speech therapist. So this is me, sharing my knowledge so that it can benefit not just the children that come to see us or the parents that are able to access our videos, but even future people. I mean, people just 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that are interested in learning more about the profession and how to offer a high standard of service. I am a qualified speech therapist. Not all the speech therapists that are working or operating, I'm not even sure that call them speech therapists in the country, are qualified. But what do? Do you stop people that have a bit of knowledge to go, from going to offer the service when there's such a severe shortage? Or you try and empower those that are trying to, so that they at least, are offering services that are backed by, evidence and research, and at least that has come from somebody that is qualified. So there are people who are doing a fantastic job of helping parents have children that have autism but don't have the qualification. Maybe they have a little bit, maybe they have an interest, and there are parents out there that feel like we are working with this particular person. She or he is good for a child, but we know she doesn't have the qualifications, but she's affordable for us. So it will be an affordable way for anybody that is interested in learning about how to implement evidence-based, high-quality speech therapy sessions or services to children and adults, to gain the training. It'll be for schools that have learning support units. I am yet to find a school in Kenya where the learning support unit is well resourced and staffed, and where the teachers have access to ongoing professional development that is, again, high quality in nature. So if I can do something to aid that in this country, I am trying. So that is the plan for the year. We'll also have a few other launches. So the Late Talkers Bootcamp will relaunch again in about a month. We'll communicate that. And then parents should be able to access that anyway. If you feel like there's any way I can be of service to you, share, and we will take that on board. And as we plan our things, so there'll be the launches. There'll be a few two new programs that we are planning to launch: the membership site, as well as what else we plan to do. What else? I'm looking at Candy. Yeah. So the blog will also be a wealth of resource to parents. So yeah. So I think it should be a beautiful year. I am looking forward to it, and I am so excited that this. I have this milestone. It's a huge milestone to do a Facebook Live. So I am so excited that I have actually been able to do it, and the people that have tuned in, and we will keep going. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Did I introduce myself at the beginning? I did. Did I say I have a family? Maybe I should say that as well. So I'll just finish by saying, I'm a mom. I'm a mom of 3 children. My oldest child is 8 years. Her name is Moore, my only daughter. Very sad. And then I have 2 sons. So my middle child is Marwa. He's 5 years. And my youngest just turned 2. His name is Mara. So I have Moore, Marwa, and Mara. And a fun fact, all my 3 children's names together. And I didn't know this when I was doing this. It was not planned, but a friend of mine said to me, do you realize that your 3 children's names together means my happiness is my happiness is our happiness, or our happiness is my happiness, something like that. Like, it sounds cheesy, guys, but it is true. So our happiness is my happiness, I think, something like that. So anybody that wants to correct me, so it's More Marwa, please tell me.
More Marwa.
Churchill, what does it mean? More Marwa Mara. I have somebody here that should be able to tell me. Kenyan. It's Kenyan language. Yeah. Yeah. What does it mean? More Marwa Mara. Our happiness is my happiness, or my happiness is our happiness?
My happiness is our happiness.
Ah, my happiness is our happiness. Oh, okay. So my happiness is our happiness. I am married to my sweetheart Ochido, who is just great, good pillar of support. And I homeschool my children, so I might just be talking about that journey elsewhere. I will share that when that happens. So it's in the pipeline as well. So yes, so thank you so much for those that have tuned in from all the way from Perth. Are you in Perth, Anne? Did you just join and then went to make dinner? Maybe she's still in. Maybe I'm not supposed to be saying where she's at. And Mogeni Kimaiga, I shall share our contacts for the clinic with you just immediately after this. Thank you, Mwendwa, for joining in. But I am done, so you're gonna have to go and watch the recorded live. But thank you so much. So, asante.